Which, did you know Dad went back in the hospital?
Oh, shit. Yeah, what's going on with your dad, bro?
He went back in the hospital. So. What do you mean? For what?
I guess he had chest pains again. He just went back in the hospital. He hasn't texted me since. It was a couple days ago.
What? He didn't text me at all. What do you mean? He just has chest pains?
I was trying to call him a bunch of times over the course of the last couple of weeks just because I hadn't heard from him. Like, when did he have the heart attack? It was a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, he had a heart attack, right?
27th or so.
Yeah.
February 22nd.
Yeah, how did that go?
It was the end of February.
Because it was like a thing. He was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. And he just stopped his work and so I need you to drive to the hospital. And he had a heart attack. So he was
working with a friend, I guess, in their backyard. And he kept laying down to do something. I forget what they were doing. He was organizing something or cleaning up something. And he had laid down to do this thing. And he kept feeling like intense pressure in his chest. And so he'd get back up and then it would go away. And then he'd lay back down. And then he was just like, man. And he had said, when I talked to him most recently, that he had about a full month or two where he had felt like a lot of pressure in his body, like his upper body, just in terms of like blood, like he could feel the tension, and that's why it's hypertension, because it's your blood, whatever. And so by the time that happened, he was laying down and he just knew like something was going to happen. So he'd asked the guy that he was working with if he had any aspirin, because that's supposed to thin your blood and help in those emergency moments. And so by then, I guess it had gotten so bad that he was like, okay, we need to, do we need to go to the hospital? And even though just because he asked him that, he was like, well, I guess we should. And then, if it's that serious or we're even asking, like, you should probably go. So then they went, and then Dad, I think, lost consciousness on the drive over, or was like really sucking, and he got checked in. What did he say? He was sucking and he got checked in. I think first my older brother told me that he died in the car ride over, and they revived him there, but that's not what Dad told me. Dad told me that he drove all the way there, and they were like trying to urgently get into ER, and one of the person who was checking him in was like all slow about it, and then his buddy was like told the nurse or somebody walked by like, this guy's going in cardiac arrest, and so they fucking put him on a gurney or whatever, or whatever they call those things, those beds, and took him in, and he said that's where he remembers just waking back up, and the nurse was like shaking him, and she was like, hey, you're back. And so like the fact that happened, like he remembers going on the bed to go into the room to get his heart looked at, and then she's like, they brought him back to life because his heart stopped. And so that's crazy to think about, like there was no time in between that for him. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because that's how it felt when I was under, but notwithstanding. So then they
did he tell you he had a vision?
No.
Dude, he told me he had a vision, but he won't tell me what it is.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was like.
But he's like really religious, right?
That's why.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, I saw something.
Oh yeah.
I saw
when I was over there. Like, I know it's personal to tell you this, but either way, I doubt Dad's gonna watch this, but if he does, whatever. But obviously, he didn't tell me anything though. But
he did tell you that he saw something.
Yeah, he said he had a vision. He's like, yeah, I had a vision. Oh. He said, and I was like, dang, well. And he's like, and I was like, "Do you want to share it?" He's like, "No." He's like, "It's a little personal."
No, I can't tell you about life after death, Grant. He didn't tell me that shit. He said he just fucking woke up, and the fact that there was no time between was the trippiest thing about it. So maybe we heard different stories.
Essentially, when I was over there with him, he was saying he was like, I had a vision. He's like, I didn't know that it was a vision. He's like, but when I woke up, I remembered something, and I remember seeing and essentially speaking with somebody. So, essentially, I'm guessing he's talking about God. And he was like,
better be talking about God.
Talking about God. He was talking to Leprechaun. Leprechaun James.
Or the end of the rainbow.
Once you die, you meet Leprechaun James. And James is like, well, welcome to the afterlife.
What's your favorite color?
And then he tells you a coin.
Yeah. But, no, so he told me he had a... Irish Jesus. No, he told me he had a vision, but yeah.
Trailer Park Jesus is like, hey, bro. His dad's like, no, fuck. Not Trailer Park Jesus. Damn it. This is the worst one. He's like, nah, bro. He's got tats all over his shit. So you need to love your brother, bro.
Working out.
You need to love you like you love yourself. He's like, no. So then what happened? So he had this crazy vision?
But no, that's the only thing. Yeah, he had told me he had a vision, but he wouldn't tell me it. And I was like, well, if you ever want to share it someday, I'd love to hear about it. And he's like, yeah, maybe I'll tell you sometime. So like, okay. Cool. So I just looked at that. He's very stoic,
I call bullshit on that, Dad. Not on you, Grant. I believe that Yeah, he told you that. I want to tell my dad, like, that's not what she told me, motherfucker.
But don't you think that sometimes
it's like a week later, it's like, and then I remember talking to God, and God was holding this coffin. It's like your brain will do that later. When you wake up, you gotta trust. I don't know, when did you first talk to him?
Yeah. I mean, he told me that on a car ride that we had coming from some house because we were moving back and forth.
Right, during the move.
Yeah, during the move. Mm. And so it was like
days had passed.
2 weeks afterwards. Yeah. So
wonder, brain is crazy things. Maybe he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
say,
what's like you could have had a dream that night or the night after or whatever, because you know, and then you like it's so close to that event,
it blends together.
Your brain's like, oh yeah, I had this crazy dream, and that must have been that night or that moment that I had. Who knows? You know.
So the end of the story, end of the ER story is that's cool to know. I'll ask him about it. I'll plug him for this.
Tell me,
hey, I want to hear that.
Did you do that?
What did God say? I need to know. I can't die without knowing it. Just kill him. Like,
was I wrong?
Anyways, so he said that then he woke back up and he was awake for the next part. And they took him into this other room where I forget what machinery it was, but they put a stent in. So they went in through his wrist, and this is like, you know, essentially telescopic, really small wire that goes in, you know, went all the way up to his heart and put a little pipe in there to clear the blockage that was creating the pressure. And he said once that didn't, he must have told you all this too then.
Yeah, I just didn't know how a stent was put in. But yeah.
And then he just felt like the pressure released, like all that pressure that had been building up. So now he's back because.
But what happened? I mean, to get to the current stage, so you say he's back in the hospital. What happened?
I don't know. I called him a couple times last week and this week, and it was like he didn't call back. I left a message or a text. I'm like, hey, let me know how you're doing. Just checking in. And then the only thing he said was this.
So he texted you he's in the hospital? Because like even while we were there, he was doing checkups at the hospital. So like checkups make sense. But like if he's in the hospital, that's a whole other story. I want to know why he's in the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes you can.
So this is Tuesday. He had texted me like Sunday, and he was just like texting me cool shit that he found that he wanted to share with me, and I was like, "Oh, cool, about movies." And then 12.
It's Thursday today.
Right, so that was Sunday. He was texting like no big deal, nothing had changed. He was on the mend.
The 13th.
And then Tuesday he said I had called him a couple times since then, or at least once. And he said, "Sorry, I missed your call. I went to the ER this afternoon due to chest pains. They're keeping me in the hospital overnight for observation." That was Tuesday. And then after I said sorry, blah blah blah, he said, "Thanks, should know more tomorrow." And I haven't heard from him since Tuesday.
Shit.
So that was like,
have you texted him since then though?
No, I've been waiting for him to text me, but I'll hit him back up.
Or hit him soon, right?
Back to the ER.
Because if he spent the night Tuesday night, then for sure you should it's been 2 days. So yeah, if he's still in the hospital, that's scary.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know. Yeah. I've been back to the ER.
So crazy how that happens. I mean,
should we text him?
I guess it's just human nature.
On the podcast.
It's like, hey,
we should,
how are you?
We should. Like, that's...
Sure. I don't care.
I think so.
And you're looking at me like, is that all right?
It's like an Eric Andre segment. Text him on the podcast.
I mean, like, I
know. I figured he'd hit up his...
Granted, it's what, 9 o'clock there now?
I mean, like, the fact that Brenda or Jules hasn't said anything, it's like, I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. He's in good hands. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
He knows I care. If he wants to talk, I don't want to bug him. Like, hey, how's it going? I've hit him up multiple times. Yeah. But families are different. Some people like to talk every day.
I can't do it. But I hope your dad pulls through and gets better, man.
Sure.